Yoga and Qigong both understand the human being as composed of the physical body, the muscles, the bones, organs, etc. The subtle body, which is the body of subtle energy, which is the energy of our emotions and thoughts. And although it's not so tangible in a way as the physical body, we know that it's very real, and we know that it totally affects, influence the functioning of the physical body. And then beyond those two, in Qigong and in classical yoga, there is the understanding that there is an even more subtle body that is deep within us, and that is called the causal body, the primary cause for all the other manifestations. In our usual way of referring to it, it would be spirit. So it would be the body, then the mind and the energy of the emotions and thoughts, and then spirit, which is how we understand our essence at a deeper level, that we are not just what we think or the reactions we have. We are not just our body. Our body keeps changing, our thoughts and emotions keep changing. But behind all that, there is our capacity to witness all this that manifests, and all the different experiences we have, ups and downs, and behind all that, there is this quiet witness that with great compassion looks at our grief, our confusion. And so we, when we do these practices where we are working with the acupressure and acupuncture points that influence the subtle body and influence the way we experience our thoughts and emotions, and how we can also plant a more conscious way of perceiving and responding. So those points, the acupressure points, acupuncture point, work with our subtle body. And then the breath is this wonderful bridge between our physical body, our nervous system, the whole functioning of our body, really, and our mind. So it just really helps us to access the mind through the body. The breath is that bridge that helps us to work with something that's tangible, the way we breathe, which is physical function, and that affects our thoughts and emotions. So it affects our subtle body, the energy there. And then the self-inquiry that we are doing, that what would I like to cultivate, or how would I like to be? It's starting to connect with that other deeper part of ourselves, our spirit, that is a vast field of possibilities, where we don't need to be limited to our life circumstances or our stories about ourselves and the things that go up and down. I mean, we can, of course, experience them and embrace them, but also have a little bit more room where all that can manifest, and know that we are not that roller coaster, that we are the witnessing. We are that space of calmness that you consciously were able to access through your breath. Mm-hmm. So that's where attention and intention come in. I mean, they help us to cultivate what we want to grow. And it's very important that we embrace the whole journey, that even if sometimes we have an intention and we set that intention perhaps in the beginning of the day with some of the practices we're going to do, and then the day has its different challenges and we forget, or we are overwhelmed, that's also part of the journey. mean, and it will continue to be like that for the rest of our life. It's not that you get to a point and then everything is just flat and there are no challenges, and life life is change, life is impermanence. So the sooner we learn that, um, the more we can not be so overwhelmed by the things that happen. I mean, of course, we'll stay with our grief and honoring, the life that of someone who has died, and we are not trying to repress or ignore the emotions, but we are also not going to space of saying, well, this shouldn't have happened. Why has this happened to me? Or why did this happen to him? I mean, it's part of our journey that we will come and experience things and then eventually we go. Um, in the I was hearing the other day someone talking. I thought it was very interesting. He was referring to the first sentences of the path not walked, by Robert Frost, and those two first sentences are, "Life is difficult," and the second sentence is, "As soon as you realize that, it stops being difficult." And it's just the difference between resisting things, thinking that life shouldn't give us problems or sadness or whatever, and so feeling that like a burden, or when the challenge comes, realizing, oh, okay, this is life acting as it is, with impermanence and with different things. And let me see, how can I see this as part of a bigger journey? And also as part of my own personal journey of um, developing spiritually, and also of appreciating every moment of life, coming back to the present moment. I think if we kind of remember that, and I know it's difficult sometimes because the challenges are very big, but if we can remember that, then there is less resistance. And when there is less resistance, there is less suffering. That doesn't mean we won't take action if the action needs to be taken. It just means that we are not going to spend all our energy in this kind of roller coaster of emotions that are often associated with thoughts about the past or about the future. And if you can just go, okay, what's going on right now? Like right now, we are all together in this gathering and we are feeling for each other, we are accompanying each other. It's a safe, peaceful space. Um, so I'm going to allow myself, you could tell yourself, to just explore some other practices to see if I can experience some more peace or tranquility, or coming back to the center. And that will already be imprinted in my body as impressions. And maybe I can also bring myself to that space other times when I'm alone, or make it a practice before I go to sleep, and when I wake up at night, and when I wake up in the morning. And it is through that repetition, even through repetition at times when one is not sure that there will be any results or anything, and you just go, do I do it or don't I do it? And you go, well, why not doing it? Maybe it will work, or why not do it? It's at the time when you are about to give up. That's the most important moment, right? Because if you give up, then you don't have the experience. But if at that time when you are about to give up, you try and move forward, you are still doing this kind of imprinting in your nervous system and in your mind, in your experiences, sense felt experiences in your body. um, so yeah, yeah, keep practicing every day a little bit, and you see more and more changes. Not always high, you may go up and then there is a plateau, and sometimes it seems to go down a little bit and then you go up. But what else is there to do if we allow the negative thoughts to proliferate and we don't consciously plant something different? Then we will just be overwhelmed by that. I mean, it's like that story about the mind being like a horse and then us being like the rider on top of the horse, and the horse goes galloping. Someone asks the rider, "Where are you going so fast?" And the person says, "I don't know, ask the horse." It just has its own life. And it goes there with all these different thoughts. Okay, first of all, let's practice a few abdominal breaths. If you are laying down or if you are sitting, just bringing your hands to the area of your navel, your abdomen. And then start by exhaling. And as you exhale, you kind of gently pull your abdomen in without forcing. And then you kind of allow your abdomen to relax. And so the air comes in that vacuum. And eventually, when the time comes to exhale, again, exhale by bringing your abdomen in a little bit, letting the air go out because everything is being compressed, and then relaxing your abdomen and imagining that the air is coming down to the area of the abdomen, like a very soft, gentle wave of air that comes in and goes out. Let's do 3 or 4 of these breaths at your own pace, inviting your body to relax. Feeling a sense of grounding. The element associated with this part of the body is the earth. So as we breathe this relaxed abdominal breath, we invite a sense of grounding. Okay, now we are going to bring our hands to the side of the ribs in the lower part of the lungs, a little bit higher than the waist. And as we inhale, we are going to bring the elbows out. And as we exhale, we are going to bring the elbows in so that the whole amount of air is coming out. And then again, creating more space. Let's do 3 of these, either moving the elbows to feel the area opening up as you inhale, and closing the elbows, feeling the area closing. Or you can keep your hands there, and now that you sense how the movement is there, do it without moving the elbows. The air goes down to the area of the waist, and you feel a bit of push against your hands, and then when you exhale, the hands come in a little bit. Also relaxing as you exhale, letting go of tensions in your shoulders everywhere. Okay, so now that we have some sense of how it feels in this area, let's do 2 more or 3 more. We are going to exhale, bringing the abdomen in. We are going to combine the two. So it's still kind of getting a greater awareness of this area so that we can use it in a moment when we are doing other practices. So let's exhale, bring the abdomen in gently. Relax the abdomen, inhale, let the abdomen come out. Keep inhaling a little bit more. Here goes to ribs. Let's exhale first from ribs and the last moment tucking the abdomen in. Let's do 3 more of this. Exhaling, bringing the abdomen in. Inhaling, the abdomen goes out. Keeps inhaling. Exhaling first here. Last, bringing the abdomen in. One more. Exhaling, relaxing the shoulders, the neck, the face. Okay. So now we are going to be using these points. The first one is called wind mansion, and you find it by going along your spine to the line of the skull. Interlacing the fingers, cradling the head, and using the thumbs to go to wind mansion. We inhale like sighing, exhale, letting go of tensions. As we inhale, we invite the air to come all the way down to tummy. Exhale, bringing the abdomen in, letting the air go out through the mouth. Inhale through the nose, like sighing. Exhale through the mouth, bringing the abdomen in and letting go of tensions. So we are going to now move to the next points. We are going to do first the points, and then we are going to do the self-inquiry with the points and the breath. The next 2 points are along the line of the skull, and you find 2 indentations here. If you are from the center of the spine, it's about 1, 2, almost 3 thumbs away, laterally from the spine. And you put your thumbs there, cradle your hands, and again, inhaling like sighing. Exhaling, letting the air go out through your mouth. Inhaling light, spaciousness. Exhaling dark vapors, those clouds that are darkening your sky. Just letting go of what worries you. Every time you exhale, you invite your body and mind to relax. Okay, so we did the wind mansion, and then we went to gates of consciousness here. And now we are going to go through 2 other points that are in the ropey muscles of the neck, between the line of the skull and the line of the shoulders here. And we are going to be using this part of our palm and the tips of our fingers to squeeze. Let's inhale, and then let's exhale and squeeze, letting go of whatever is troubling us. These points are called pillars of heaven. I love the names. Pillars of heaven. So again, inhaling like sighing, allowing the air to come down to abdomen. Exhaling, letting the air go through the mouth or the nose, whatever you prefer. I find that when I have strong emotions, it works best. Uh, Exhaling through the mouth, letting go the air through barely parted lips. So if there is something that's overwhelming you right now as you exhale, you just kind of imagine that you are exhaling together with the air of that, those feelings, those emotions, those wearing thoughts. Inviting your body and your mind to relax. And being content with whichever level this relaxation is happening. It's just, we don't want to layer judgment on top of any of the practices. With great compassion for ourselves and our present circumstance, we work with our body and our intention to let go, and we are happy with whatever happens, no expectations, but keep doing it, and it will slowly, through layers and layers, help you to let go of where you are stuck. So now we are going to combine these energy points from Qigong and from acupressure and acupuncture points, and the breathing, the letting go breathing, which is a Taoist practice. Inhale through the nose, exhale through the mouth with the intention of letting go of the old and opening yourself to receive the new. We're going to combine this with setting an intention for the day. So this practice is wonderful also at night when you just are laying down before you go to sleep. These points are very good to let go of troubling emotions or cycles of negative thoughts. You just put your hands there, you breathe, and you see that your body can gives on more and more onto relaxing. Now, if you want to practice this in the morning, which I also highly recommend, and I do them always when I just wake up, and I also do them when I'm about to go to sleep. In the mornings, I think it's very interesting what happens when you set the intention for the day. So usually we start the day with first things, just like, oh, okay, what do I need to do today? And you have a list of to-do things, right? I need to finish this, and yeah, pay that, meet with so-and-so, finish this project, whatever. But that usually creates either some state of expectation or of anxiety or some residue of unease. It depends what's coming up on that day. Instead of doing that, and still you'll be able to do the things that you need to do, but a much better practice is to start with a to be intention. So instead of what do I have to do today, it's more like what do I want to cultivate today? How I can be today? What do you want? What do I want to bring to this tissue of my life? That's the moments of every day. And today is another day. I have been blessed by waking up, being alive, and being able to breathe, think, imagine. So let me see if I can go through a setting of intentions in the morning, and then I might or not remember during the day, but at least it's already a step forward that you put the intention, and then at night also reviewing a little bit what the intention was. And as you do this day in and day out, it starts to bring forth into your attention and intention and into your experience what is that you really value? What is it that you want to manifest in your life? So let's do that. We are going to go back to the practice of breathing that we find so useful. By the way, you can also do this anytime during the day. I mean, I was working with a colleague this morning in the Spanish workshop, and she was saying how useful it is to do it also during the day, in between meetings, or any moment that you want to kind of reset your functioning, your mood, your perspectives. You can go to that. So we are going to again interlace our hands, use our thumbs to go to wind mansion. Inhaling slowly and deeply like sighing. Exhaling, letting go of tensions. And as we awake in the morning, and we are just taking 5 minutes before coming out of bed, or however long you have, kind of looking at the day ahead and noticing if there is anything that is troubling you or in any way seems to be limiting you at this time. And inviting that to calm down, to come, in the wind mansion, all those winds of strong emotions and cycles of negative thinking coming into this space where they can rest. At least for this moment, while you are doing the practice, you are inviting your mind and your heart to rest. They have come to this mansion, to this house, and all those wind of that wind is pacifying itself, is finding a space to rest. So letting go at this point of what is troubling you, having the intention for the day of releasing or relinquishing some of those limiting thoughts that you associate with something that's happening that day, or your reactions to it. Just let it be, let it rest. Inhaling like sighing, exhaling, letting go of tensions. And relinquishing, letting go of that sense of burden that you might have at the beginning of the day about something. Asking yourself, if there is a difficult situation, what do I want to bring to this situation? How can I be in this situation or in these life circumstances? What is that I want to cultivate? And that brings us to the next 2 points, gates of consciousness, where you are going to connect with what is that you want to cultivate with reference to that was troubling you, or in this particular day, what would you like to cultivate? What quality or what way of being? And seeing yourself being like that. Just have a little taste. You remember how you have been other times, or or maybe something deep within you tells you what is that you want to invite into your life that day when you're waking up. So that's what comes up in gates of consciousness. What is it you long for? What is it you want to cultivate? And visualizing it as possible. Okay, and then you go a little bit further down to these points here, pillars of heaven. And as you are inhaling, like sighing, and exhaling, letting go of tensions, visualize what would be the first steps, maybe small steps, towards cultivating, towards manifesting that quality that you just intuitively found when you were at gates of consciousness. So now you're coming to pillars of heaven, and you're going to see how can you support manifesting that quality that you want to cultivate in your life. A few simple steps, something that you feel you can do, be, remember. Okay. And again, seeing yourself doing it or asking for inspiration and what would be those steps. So whatever comes up, work with that. Enjoy that. All right. So that's how you can combine self-inquiry with breath, with acupressure points, and with day in and day out, start shaping your inner space towards what you want to cultivate. And every day might be different. Sometimes, you know, if you have been struck by a great loss and feel really tender, maybe it's just laying low and being kind to yourself and rejoicing in some simple things, maybe gardening, maybe cooking, whatever, or maybe just being with that grief, honoring the process itself, and also allowing the process to have its own natural way of completing itself, and having the understanding that it's a journey, and at the end of that journey you will continue with other understandings, right? And this can also happen, you know, sometimes we are diagnosed with something, a terminal disease or really serious things. And you may say, well, how can I even be grateful or do anything after I hear that? And yes, it's very shocking receiving those news. And it's also an incredible opportunity to awaken on how to be present for the rest of the days that you have. So at any point we are presented with either allowing these emotions to overpower us and depress us or rob us of our energy, or we are presented with this big challenge, and then because we want to be present for ourselves and for others, somehow find a way of finding meaning in that experience and in coming back to the present moment and celebrating every moment, because life is so short and so precious, and we want to be present with it. So this is our practice for today. We could do a little movement also, because we have been sitting here for a while. So let's see if we can do another way of sustaining care and hope is when we trust that everything that happens is part of this big journey of unfolding consciousness, and that even the big challenges that we have been facing in this year, collectively, personally, are opportunities to awaken. And this is happening all over the world. And so it's almost like if we've seen the journey of unfolding consciousness, we are invited to participate consciously in bringing more consciousness. So, if we look at the evolution of life in the planet, I mean, and the very simple organisms that there were in the beginning, and then how through evolving and changing, they became more complex, and we're able to move, we're able to flower, we're able to keep evolving different species and all that, and evolving more complex mechanisms within each organism, so that finally here became the human, which probably won't be the end of the evolution if we don't destroy the planet before, but that's another story. We're going to do as much as we can to work together to protect it. But so as human beings, we have this capacity of not only being conscious of what is around, but also being self-conscious of what are we doing with our inner space. And it is taught in classical yoga, in Qigong, in Buddhism, in all the ancient traditions, that the way to awaken is through suffering. Not that we are going to be looking for suffering, but usually when things go more or less normal or whatever, we are so busy with our lives, we don't question, we don't look, we don't criticize, we don't work for change. When suffering comes, something breaks, and of that kind of monolithic way of moving along. And more we have seen this year, lots of cracks in the political administration, in the health system, in the minimum wage and unemployment, and so many kinds of things that were always there, and racial violence and so injustice. They were always there, but it took some being confronted with the suffering for us to wake up. So, but when we wake up, if there are too many challenges, sometimes we get depressed, because it just seems to be overwhelming. And at that point, the way out to sustain care and renew hope is if you can think, okay, well, this is part of a journey of giving birth, of a new understanding that is emerging. So in emergencies, a new understanding emerges. And in fact, that's the way that life also has emerged in the planet, that different species have gone through different kinds of big challenges, and then they have evolved to different understandings and way of cooperating and moving forward. And this is happening all over the world right now. So we are invited to embody this capacity of self-consciousness, of realizing what's going around and what's going inside of us, and to cultivate that we want to see in the world, to be the change that we want to see in the world. And so if we can trust that this is not just pointless, but is part of a journey of awakening, then we can align ourselves with consciously participating in it by working in ourselves and also with the people around us. And in yoga, in Qigong, in Buddhism also, there is an understanding that everything is interconnected, that we are connected with the earth and we are connected with the heavens, and we are this kind of moving fields of consciousness that are supported by the earth and also by the heavens. So let's do a movement that we have practiced sometimes before, And that is about connecting ourselves with earth and with the heavens, and accepting what life puts in our plate with this deep trust that is part of a journey of unfolding consciousness in our life and in the life of our communities. So let's see, we can do a little bit of movement, Qigong, and this connection to the earth and to the heavens. Well, let me just first demonstrate sitting. Okay. So I think many of you have seen this, and perhaps some of you have already adopted it for your practice. It's a really wonderful way of feeling the connection with the earth and with the heavens. So when we are standing, we are going to bring our hands to the side, the same if we are sitting. And if you can only move one of your hands and arms, then just move that one and imagine that the other one is doing the same. So if you can move both, you move both down by bending your trunk forward and bringing your hands together like a receptacle, and bringing this that you receive from the earth and from life, processing it to the center of your being, coming up, and then pivoting the hands and giving back to the universe all those other dimensions that we cannot really control or manage. We did our best, and now we release it into the universe to be completed, and we lower our hands and create this circle of light. And we are in the center of the circle of light. And again, we bow, we bend forward, receive the energy from the earth, receive what's being put in our plate, process it through the center of our being, give it back up like in prayer, and then relinquishing and giving it back to the universe to be completed. And we lower our hands, creating the circle of light, and we are in the middle of it. Okay? So again, if you can only move one of the hands, that hand goes up, and then it turns and then creates the circle, and you imagine that the other hand is also moving and doing the movement. Okay, good. Now let's do it together. Standing. All right, so we stand. We stand with the feet shoulder width apart, body straight and relaxed. To feel that the body is straight is nice to think, it's good, it's useful. To feel that the body is aligned, it's useful to think that the head is a sphere that's perfectly balanced on top of the sphere of the chest, and both of them on top of the sphere of the abdomen. And the three spheres are resting on the hips and connected to the earth through the legs. The knees are slightly bent. We feel the connection with the earth also by bringing our toes up and lowering them, and feeling the weight of our body touching the earth, and again raising the toes and lowering, feeling the whole grip and rooting of the feet on the earth. So now from this position of being straight, firmly rooted and relaxed, we are going to let the hands float up, arms and hands float up. And then we are going to bend from our waist down. Doesn't matter if you don't touch the earth, just kind of bending wherever it feels comfortable for you, then receiving from the earth, humbly bowing, whatever it puts in our plate. receiving that in peace and processing it through us, and then offering it back to the heavens, giving it back to the universe, and then tracing this circle of light. So do it at your own pace, in a relaxed way. Feel yourself rooted, centered, and then also feel how you give it back to the heavens and relinquish the results of your actions. Just doing the best you can, and then keep centering yourself, healing yourself through the connection with the earth and with the heavens. In the opening of your chest, feeling the peace that comes from offering it back to the universe, whatever is beyond our sphere of action, beyond what we can do. We trust that the universe will complete our efforts, and we keep bowing and replenishing ourselves and humbly returning to the universe, to the big journey that we cannot totally see, trusting that's moving. Let's do two more. In this last circle of light, we just let the hands and arms flow down to the sides of the body. Bring the feet together, hands together like in prayer. We remember blessings in our life, one or two that are cherished by us, that help us feel deeply grateful for them. And also lowering our hands to our heart, centering ourselves, and sending a wave of peace, of desires, of healing, wishes for good health and peace. So many people who right now are suffering. And perhaps if you have a friend or a loved one, particularly you want to send to them, imagining them receiving this blessing. And also sending a sense of peace and good health to the doctors and nurses that are in the front lines trying to help us overcome this pandemic, and all the people that also are working to help keep things moving. They don't have a choice. They have to work and are concerned when they go back home about their own health, the health of their families. To all of them, we send this our deep gratitude and a sense that may your burden be alleviated. And for the people that are working to move forward our democracy, sharing this sense of peace and gratitude with them to feel the interconnection among all of us. And finally, sending it to this group that has been practicing together. and receiving it. This is a practice that shows us that when we open our heart to share with others, it multiplies inside us and around us. Thank you. I hope these practices are simple enough that you'll be able to practice during the week, whatever resonates with you.